my worst story that I had for work, for Neva, is this guy came in and he had a big basket of movies. And anytime anyone buys scary movies, I always ask them questions because I love scary movies. And I'm looking at the movie and I say, oh, so did you happen to see the scariest movie of all time? And he looks at me and he's like, what, Hostel 2? And I'm like, no. And he's like, oh, do you mean Paranormal Activity? And I'm like, yeah, that one. And he's like, yeah, I did. And I'm like, oh, you liked that? And he's like, yeah, actually, I did. I'm like, oh, well, it had so many flaws, there were so many holes, what about this and this and this and that? And I pointed out all these things that he should have seen. And he's like, well, what about this? And I'm like, exactly, what about that? You didn't even think about the other thing that... And it just went back and forth, back and forth. Both of us were getting a little curious, but I was enjoying it. And then finally I was like, yeah, you know what? I really appreciate the conversation that we're having in this discussion, but I have to be honest with you, I can't fully go to my fullest capacity because I'm hopped up on Dayquil. And he was like, oh, now you tell me. And I was like, yeah, now I tell you. And so we went back and forth a little bit longer, and then I was like, oh, can I get your credit card? And he hands me a credit card, and it was Eli Roth. Eli Roth was mad at me. Told me to make a movie of my own, better than that, for cheaper than $16,000. Because I will, Eli.